As predicted, Wall Street watches as the stock market crashes. Three major concerns reported on this channel over the last few days, as predicted, happened. COVID-19 cases through the roof, no stimulus plan in place, and finally, election uncertainty and the possibility for contested elections. This is exactly what I've been predicting for several days. And as the future looms with just less than 7 days away from election night, what can happen? And will we know the results of the nation's major election on Tuesday night? Big news, new focus, and a personal message you've never heard before from me. And this is a special recording today of 28. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm here, you're here, and I'm so glad that you joined me for the tail end of early mornings, and now late mornings here on LALATE with 28. The countdown, the final 28 days before the presidential election, and of course, the Senate and congressional elections. You know, it's this coming Tuesday, but we may not know the results on Tuesday night. More about that in a second. But the big breaking news is the crashing of Wall Street. I'll get to that in a second. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. You're going to see a personal message later in this recording that explains where I'm going to refocus this program in the coming days. So I want you to be part of this community. Go to the front of this channel, subscribe. Subscribe because it's the best community out here. I don't just report news. I don't just take a newspaper and read from it. I get you things. I've gotten people stuff from day one of this channel, and I'm going to continue to do so in new fashions starting later in this video. I'll explain to you more about that in a second. Also, like this video. Coming up in this video, I will be going over Wall Street. I'll be going over what's happening on Wall Street, why I predicted this to you, and why it's going to continue. I'll be going over the three factors that's causing Wall Street to crash, and two of them concern your stimulus. Next, I'll be going over President Donald Trump's comments last night about stimulus. Third, I'll be going over what President Trump could do to get the message on point for stimulus in these final 7 days, but will he realize it? And the need for executive order. Additionally, I will be going over what could happen after election night. And finally, I will be focusing on a personal message to keep you financially sound, keep you financially on the ground, and keep you fed and healthy as this pandemic rages once again. All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that there's no surprise to the viewers of this channel. I keep you informed, and I tell you things ahead of time. I don't tell you things after they happen. When I told you over the weekend there was going to be a major stock market crash, I told you last week there was going to be a major stock market crash, and I said there was two reasons why it was going to happen. One, COVID-19 cases, and two, I said lack of stimulus. Well, now we've seen it happen yet again. The stock market took a big hit earlier this week, but then rebounded and ended flat for the day. And then this morning, on early mornings LALATE, I told you the futures, which tracks where the stock market will open up, was down, but not severely. Then it opened up on mornings LALATE at 400 points, and now this recording taped shortly after mornings LALATE, the market's down about 800-ish points, which is a crash. The question is, what's going on? And what does this have to do with your stimulus? First, it has everything to do with your stimulus. Second, it's not going to stop. And three, it could be very much like this for upwards of 7 days. I've told you this before, but let me explain it to you right now. What's going on is that Wall Street thinks like how you think. Ironically, a lot of people look at Wall Street as some sort of group of very rich people in high-scraped buildings. Oh no. They try to look at you and the impact of things on you, like consumer confidence, your ability to pay your food and your rent and your utilities. They look at those things. They don't act like they do, but they do. And they're deeply concerned that there's no stimulus being approved. And referring to second stimulus, they're also concerned about third stimulus, which you're hearing me talk about a lot on this channel, and I could continue to talk about it. This is third stimulus in regards to the pending lockdowns that are coming. Let me go over what's going on. They're concerned that the last stimulus package has already made its way through the economy. That's the stimulus package of March. And that all its benefits, whatever they were, have already been filtered through the economy. And that there's no more stimulating of that package that's impacting the economy. They're concerned that the second stimulus package that was supposed to be approved in May, that takes about a few months for the stimulating effect to hit the economy, has still not even been approved. So if you approve the stimulus package today, you wouldn't see the impact on the economy tomorrow. It takes a few months for it to all filter through. And this is what they're concerned about. They're concerned that the second stimulus package, as we sit here in October, should have been approved back in, at worst, August. So we would have seen its impact now. That's about 2 months later, but it hasn't. In fact, it's not even close to being approved. It's not even written as a bill. Nancy Pelosi had the audacity to say, I haven't even written as a bill. You've written two versions of this previously at 3,000 pages, and you see a pandemic raging. You see millions of Americans homeless, and you haven't even written a bill. What are you elected to do? Get your hair done? It's just crazy. This is what Americans are wondering what's going on with Congress. It's their job to get these things done. It's not their job to play partisan games. And so Wall Street is just not happy. Now, how does this impact Wall Street and you? Wall Street understands that stimulus relief is needed to get from point A to point B. This is second stimulus. This is to cover you from August, September, October. Your stimulus check, your FPUC, your hazard pay. You haven't gotten it. You have not gotten it. Okay, there's that issue. That issue is impacting your ability to pay your bills and to survive. And Wall Street wants it paid now. The Federal Reserve wants it paid now. The Federal Reserve has implored Congress to get that damn stimulus, second stimulus, out now, and they haven't done it. And then there's this, the big new twist. First detailed on this channel on Saturday. Friday and Saturday's COVID-19 cases were at 83,000, breaking the daily record of this country that was previously set in July of 70,000 or 73,000. The number of daily cases on the 6-day average over the last 6 days is trending extremely high. New lockdown concerns across the country, whether it's El Paso or Chicago, Texas or the Northwest. There's new concerns that lockdowns will be announced. And this goes to your third stimulus package. Why? Because the third stimulus package is to pay you money to survive a lockdown. And I know someone's going to say, well, I haven't gotten to pay your second stimulus. Well, the reason why we talk about all of these packages is because Congress wants you to not get paid for as many of them as they can get away with not paying you. They didn't pay you the first stimulus checks for the first stimulus package. They gave you one or none. If you're an adult dependent, if you're on SSDI, SSI, and Social Security Railroad benefits, you got nothing. If you're an adult dependent, you got zip. And you were told to put on lockdown for 3 months as a veteran of this country who served this country your entire life and are now dependent on your son or daughter's tax return. You were given zero. So then when they came around and wrote the new stimulus package, that, you know what? They didn't catch up and pay those outstanding 2 checks to you. They said, you know what? We'll give you 1 check. And that was in May. And now as we sit here in October, what are they doing? They're talking about 1 check. In fact, they're reducing the amount of the check. That's Nancy Pelosi, whereas the president's trying to go higher on the check. And so the concern as you sit here today is that you're owed all those checks to get up to date on your rent now, to get up to date on your bills now, to get up to date on your food now. If you got those stimulus checks under a second stimulus package now, think in the back of your mind, okay, how would I financially be sound or unsound today? If I got a lot of stimulus checks to get me up to date, how would I be now, LALATE? Well, if I got a $4,000 stimulus check right now, I would be able to pay my rent. I would be caught up on my electric bill. I'm giving you an example. I'm not telling this is what you are. I'm just giving you an example. That's to get to point 0, which is right now, the end of the second stimulus period. Then we have a lockdown coming across many states across this country. October, November, December, January. Okay, what do you need for that period of time? You need money for that period of time. That's the third stimulus package. If it's 3 months, how much stimulus do you need for that period of time? You need money for that. And that's why I'm doing this narrative with you, because the viewers of this channel, who I have called Purple Power, have been informed and educated and empowered with going on social media, going on Twitter, saying, listen, you need to pay up your debts, Congress, on the second stimulus package. I can't survive on what you have not given me over the last 6 months. Pay your debts. You have an outstanding balance. Balance due. Pay it now. And start writing the third stimulus package, because I need money because the lockdowns are coming. The lockdowns are just a few weeks away. We need to have that third stimulus package written now. You know how many members of Congress have written the third stimulus package so far? Zero. Do you know how many presidential candidates have talked about the third stimulus package? Zero. Do you know what Donald Trump spoke about yesterday? He said, if I'm reelected, he says, I will give Americans the biggest, most beautiful, gorgeous stimulus package you've ever seen. Okay, well, there's a good to that, there's a bad to that. The good to that is that he's on message. The bad part about that is that he needs to understand, right about now, you need to be paying people for back pay and forward pay. So you need to combine the second and third stimulus packages right now. You cannot just pay us for what's happened in the past. You have to pay us to prepare for what's happening in the future. Now, ultimately, the president may not co-sign, things like lockdowns and is against them. But ultimately, he understands that people need to be paid ahead of time for November and December and January. We can't be paid after we're evicted. That's just, this Congress seems to think you can do things after the fact. Nancy Pelosi hilariously once said to the airlines, don't fire your workers on August 2nd after they had fired them on August 1st. I mean, and then she said, keep them on staff. We'll be done in a few days with the bill. That was August. We're in October. She was never finished. She never even wrote the bill. So Congress wants you to be paid after the calamity hits. We're not going to accept that. We're the Purple Power. We're not going to accept that. Now, a personal message. A personal message when I want to jump in here before I get back to some of the breaking news developments is that I have, from the very start of this channel, tried to empower viewers and get them what they need, whether it's EIDL loan or EIDL grants or PPP money or grants or local grants or stimulus checks. I'm always trying to get people things that they need. And what my desire going forward is to help empower this community and help this community help one another in finding resources for families during this pandemic as lockdowns ensue. So the focus of this channel will be as it is currently, but I'm going to expand the coverages of the topics inside of each videos to ensure that you know where there's food banks around, that you know what's going on with lockdowns in your county or state, that you know what the health and safety situation is around you, that you know whether there's free medical clinics being open in your area. It's my job to sit here and make sure you survive this pandemic. My job is not to tell you how to buy Tesla stock and buy it on 2-for-1 stock split. My job is not to tell you how to house flip a house and how to put a lamp in a corner and how that makes the house look nice. My job is not to open a portfolio and have you discuss Amgen's Pfizer stock versus Boeing stock. That's not my focus. It has never been my focus on this channel. My focus is to make sure you are financially on the ground stable and that your health and safety for your family is provided for. And so ultimately, we're going to start this slowly, and I'm going to figure out how to get this information out to you. It will be along the same lines as how I've always given you grant information, but now it's going to be about food and food banks and testing facilities and medical facilities that are provided for you, because ultimately, you know how I feel. You know that I feel that Congress has failed you, and that ultimately I cannot sit back and see them fail you any longer, that I must empower you with information, use this medium to get you from point A to point B. And as the pandemic rages out of control, as lockdowns are announced, I can't sit back and talk about, here's how I bought a house in Las Vegas for $0. I can't do that stuff. It doesn't sound logical. And so that's why I'm going to refocus you right now. Let's get back to the stimulus and the pandemic with a few more things going on. So stay with me. A lot of things still developing. There is big questions as we sit here today about about what could happen on Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. And as we sit here today, the third thing that's causing Wall Street very jittery is the concern that on Wednesday morning, we will not know who the president of the United States is for the next year. We won't know who is going to be the party in control of the Senate. We won't know some Senate races at all. And the concern is both a mixture of runoffs and a mixture of contested elections. Let me explain to you how this deals into issues of your stimulus. First, your stimulus is tied to two events: an executive order or an act of Congress. First, the executive order. The president can constitutionally do it. I want to say very quickly, there's some crazy people that are jumping in the comments here. They literally are crazy people. They're saying Nancy Pelosi's lawyers stopped Donald Trump from writing executive orders. Nancy Pelosi threatened the president about executive order. I mean, I don't know where I think they read it at the Star magazine next to the breath mints at the at the supermarket aisle. It's just okay. And Elizabeth Taylor's coming back from the grave and is singing a Britney Spears song. It's just okay. Thank you so much. The president can sign executive orders, has the money to do it, and will do it. The question is whether or not he will do it at all. And millions of Americans that tune into this channel are wondering whether that possibility is going to ever wake up in this president's mind. The other path, of course, is legislative. It requires an act of Congress where the House, the Senate, and then the president all approve the bill. The problem is that if you don't know who your president is after Inauguration Day, who's going to sign the bill? If you don't know who your Senate is after Inauguration Day, who's going to pass the bill in the Senate? Now, understand that the Senate, the House, and the president still have their jobs all the way up to Inauguration Day. So the president may lose on election night. That does not mean he leaves the next day. The moving truck and the tow truck are not out in front, ready to take Mitch McConnell's Bentley out of storage. That's not what happened. That's not what's happening. They are staying there, but ultimately, they may not do something if one, the contesting election, or two, they think they lost and they think that the next person should do something for you. It's going to be a very chaotic couple of days. And what I want you to understand is, one, there's going to be people that are going to write videos and write stories and write comments that says, oh, this person won, and you may actually not know who won. Contested elections mean that the person goes to court and fights it up and down and up and down and up and down the court system, saying, I didn't win because there was a problem with the mail voting system in this corner of that county. I didn't win because there was an irregularity of the Chad that was hanging in South Florida, and I should have won, but you gave it to George Bush Jr. Sound familiar? That was Gore Bush. He went all the way to the Supreme Court, the hanging Chad in South Florida. And they're expecting this like you've never seen it before. Then there's the Senate runoff races, and those could loom for days, if not weeks. There's concerns that, like in Georgia, we may not know who won the Georgia Senate race, and that could go to a runoff. Moreover, it's important to understand as we go into these final days before the election, the polls are just all over the place. And I love the comments where the people say, we just don't, polls always lie. They do lie. So I run them with just a grain of salt, and I say, okay, here's some polls. Here's some polls. Enjoy them. They may be all wrong. And what I will tell you this is, please go out and vote. Seats for stimulus. Vote all those incumbents out. Every incumbent who didn't give you a stimulus check, vote them out. Vote them out. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Mitch McConnell's going to get reelected. Nancy Pelosi is going to be reelected. Whether or not they're in their same capacities as before, I don't know. But as everyone else, vote them out. So when you go to vote and you see on your election ballot, senator, if it's a senator incumbent, vote them out. If you see a House representative, vote them out. And you can do what you want with the president as well. As with that, there's a lot of twists and turns coming up later today. The stock market will continue to be volatile over the next few days. It is unhappy with this lack of stimulus, COVID-19 cases, and contested election. And guess what? All those three issues are not changing in the next 7 days. They're going to get worse. And so what's important is that we remain optimistic, we remain focused, we remain positive, we remain with the push, push, push of the purple power on social media to get the narrative out about how much stimulus you need. It's not just second stimulus, it's now third stimulus also. You're owed back pay and you're owed forward pay. And we're not as a community going to sit here and wait and complain about our forward pay in March of next year when we realize, wait a second, you have never given us stimulus for December and January and we're on lockdown. Oh no, we're dealing with it ahead of time. That's how you deal with things on the come. Go to the first channel, subscribe, because no one takes care of you better, baby. It sounds like a Tom Jones song. Yeah. And also like the video. Coming up this afternoon, Afternoons LALATE at 3:30 is Afternoons LALATE. Please tune in to all those videos because those tend to be the most comprehensive and I break them down. We've had a lot of problems with YT processing, I know it. And so a lot of videos are going up a little slower or out of order. So stay with me. Don't miss a video. Make sure you hit the alert of the front of this channel. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay at that life for more.